Don't be like me, be better than me. Use a bigger bowl than you think you need. Hey y'all, it's Alirien, and today we are going to be making peach cobbler to celebrate Midsummer, which is the summer solstice. Midsummer, the summer solstice, is all about celebrating the peak of the sun's warmth and light, as it is the longest day and shortest night of the year. It's all about making the most of that particularly long day full of sunshine and the warmth and the light and all of those blessings and all of that energy that comes with it. And most of the food associations for Midsummer are fruit. Peaches were on the list, and as were various berries, so I thought, why not make a cobbler? I have actually found a recipe in this cookbook that we've had for years called Foods à la Louisiane. It is a locally produced, it's from the Louisiana Farm Bureau Women. When was this one published? Let me see. Printed in 1980. So I was not even around. I was not even a thought when this book came out. All of the recipes in this book were sent in from local Louisiana women. They're all traditional family recipes. And this peach cobbler, there are several versions of cobbler that are in here or in many of my cookbooks, but this was what seemed like the fastest and simplest recipe that anybody could reproduce as long as you've got the right ingredients and you've got about 2 hours time. This recipe was written in by Mrs. Linda Sue Anderson from Ouachita Parish, specifically Monroe. We've got all our ingredients right here. We need a cup each of all-purpose flour and sugar, a cup and a third of milk. I am using whole Kleinpeter milk because it's a local brand and I prefer full-fat milk. 20 ounces of canned sliced peaches undrained. Now, it calls for 1 can that is 20 ounces. We could only find 15-ounce cans, so I'm going to be cracking open 2 cans to make about 20 ounces, and the rest of the peaches, hell, I might just throw all the peaches in, we'll see. The rest of the peaches will get used, I promise you. Half a cup of melted margarine. I'm actually going to use salted butter instead of margarine because that is what I prefer. Obviously, if you cannot have dairy for whatever reason, you can switch out the butter for margarine or your preferred butter substitute, and you switch out the milk for your preferred milk substitute. The consistency might change, it might take some testing. I am not an expert on this. I do not claim to be a professional chef or food scientist in any way. And lastly, a teaspoon of vanilla extract. I also have a couple of fresh peaches that I might slice to top this with. We also have vanilla ice cream in the freezer. I considered finding an ice cream churner to make our own ice cream, but it seemed a little much to do our all one video. So maybe we'll make ice cream one day in the future, but for now we're just gonna do this peach cobbler, and the instructions are super simple. Combine all the ingredients and mix well, put into a lightly greased casserole dish, and bake in the oven at 350 for 45 minutes to an hour. My oven's already preheated, so we're gonna portion out our ingredients and make some cobbler. And as always, I will have voiceover with the correspondences of any ingredients we have not covered before. Oh, I think I have just enough sugar. I have just enough sugar for this. That is some serendipity right there. Cup of flour, and I'm going to use a spoon to scoop this out so it doesn't pack too tightly. There's about a cup of flour. I'm going to go ahead and incorporate those. Cup and a third of milk. I'm going to go get a wooden spoon. Wooden spoon, best spoon. Microwave it in this bowl to melt it. And remember, 1 stick of butter is half a cup, so just 1 whole stick of butter. Cutting through it to make sure it all stays in the bowl when it melts. Here's the peaches. 20 ounces is about 2.5 cups, so I did 1 whole can and spooned out peaches with juice until it made about 2.5 cups. I've got a little less than half of this can left, but now we'll add the peaches. Feminine peaches are associated with Venus, water, pouring gently, love, exorcism, longevity, fertility, and wish granting. Now I will stir very gently because I should have gotten a bigger bowl. We've essentially made a very loose buttermilk peach pancake batter. And lastly, teaspoon vanilla. Now, I'm going to set this aside and pull over my casserole dish. And I'm going to grab a second stick of butter, a stick of unsalted butter this time, to grease the inside of the casserole dish. You can, of course, use, as I said, margarine or Pam or cooking spray. If you prefer, I think they even make cooking spray specifically for baking, where it's got like powdered sugar or something in it to help it not stick, but this works just as well. Move the wrapper to grip the end of the butter stick. And just run it all over the inside surface. It doesn't use very much of the stick. And I'm going to rewrap this, and I'm going to take a paper towel to make sure that butter is spread evenly, because on the white ceramic it's hard to tell. If for no other reason, then I want to make sure that the crevice between the vertical wall and the floor of the dish is also coated. Now we're going to very gently put this in the casserole dish. Awkward way I could have poured it, but I was trying desperately to make sure it all landed in the casserole dish instead of on my countertop. Or me. There it is before baking. I'm going to stick this in the oven for 45 minutes and check it, and if it doesn't quite seem done, we'll leave it for another 15 minutes. If it's done, we'll pull it out at 45. Alright, so I ended up leaving it for an hour. Let's pull it out and see how it looks. That looks gorgeous. I don't know how well you can tell, but the very edge is a wonderful golden brown. It's still pretty soft in the middle, and the butter is still bubbling around the edges. I'm gonna give this probably 10-15 minutes to cool, and then we will slice this and plate some with some ice cream and see how it tastes. It's been sitting for about 10 minutes to cool, so I'm gonna slice into it and plate some to serve. There's the cobbler. That's the ice cream with that. There we go, peach cobbler with good vanilla ice cream. I take a bite without the ice cream, just to get the It's very soft in the middle. It's kind of like a bread pudding consistency in the middle. So if you would like it a little bit more solid, you can of course leave it a little bit longer than I did. I was more concerned with overcooking than undercooking because I don't like over dry baked goods. The only concern with anything being raw in this recipe is the flour, and an hour in the oven is more than enough to cook flour through enough and make sure that it's not going to make you sick. But this is so good. It was so simple and easy and fast to throw together. I'm so glad I tried making this. It's been so long since I've had peach cobbler. This I think is a perfect recipe for midsummer. And there are of course so many other kinds of fruit that you can make cobbler with. Blackberry is one of the most common aside from peach, but any sort of berry, anything that has a lot of juice that is naturally produced from the fruit is gonna be your better option. I'm gonna stop eating so I can finish this video, and then I will go finish eating that. So I hope you've enjoyed watching this, and I hope you give the recipe a try. If you do, be sure to send me photos or videos of your attempts on social media. You can find all the other places where I'm up to all of my adventures in the Linktree portal below. If you'd like to find more content like this, which if you did enjoy the video, you should know where all the buttons and the links are at this point, but if you'd like to see more recipe videos or DIY in general, I have my DIY playlist linked in the cards and below as well, where you can find my wreath making and the other recipes that I've have done. As always, I'd like to give a special thanks to my coven of patrons who continue to be my biggest and most pivotal supporters, and if you, dear viewer, would like to join their ranks, again, check that Linktree portal below for my Patreon, where pledges start at $1 a month. Thank you again. Stay tuned for the Midsummer Tarot, as well as Sybil's Pair of Bodies, and I will see you all again very soon. Keep aiming, my loves, and blessed solstice. Mwah. Bye, y'all. I also wanted to mention real quick that since somebody on Rumble decided to get mad at me for my cat being on the kitchen counter in one of the other recipe videos, I decided to double down and have a cat on my shirt.